Okay, for our foldable for purposes, we're just gonna go over the one example in each tab. I kind of want you to try to do the second example on your own. We're gonna go over this a little bit, check your understanding tomorrow in class. I apologize again about the delay. I'm hoping this one will work. We hope I have a smart board tomorrow. We'll see. So, if you watched the video of Sal deriving the equation of a circle, if I go with this first tab, and this it's not very tedious. We saw that the center of a circle is always basically H, comma, K, right? Alright, so in our example 1, our H is the 2, and our K would be the -3. And then our radius, R, is 4. So we're just going to plug in the formula for an equation of a circle, which off the video you saw was x minus h parentheses squared plus y minus k parentheses squared equals radius squared. Alright, so we'll plug this in. We have x minus, our h was 2, parentheses squared, plus our y and our k is a -3, so that's going to be minus a -3. And you saw also in the additional video what happens when you subtract a negative. You can just use our algebra reasoning skills, and that's going to equal 2, 4 squared. So when we basically simplify, we're just going to go ahead and get the equation. This is x minus 2 parentheses squared plus y plus 3 parentheses squared equals 16. And that's it. That's all we need right there. So I want you to try to do example 2. Make sure we have the right operation in our parentheses. So that is our tab dealing with given the center and the radius. So then we're going to write equation off a graph. So on our next tab here, again, what are the parts that we need in order to write the equation? We need the center. And our center of the circle, which is still going to be in the form, I forgot what we did, of H, comma, K. Okay? So, and we also need the radius. We need our radius, which we're going to read off the graph. So, the center of this circle, I should have wrote it underneath here. Is our H is a negative, let's see, -2. And then our K, or our X and Y coordinate, -2, 4. And we can come up with the radius by actually drawing it. And I would, because I'm on a coordinate plane, I want to make sure I can at least draw a horizontal vertical line. Because I could draw the radius here, but I want the distance of that segment. And so I can't count that segment. The only one I can count is a horizontal line, like such, or I can count a vertical line, like such. So I'm hoping you can see that the radius is 2. And so, remember what we learned in regards to when dealing with the ordered pair and plugging it into the formula? You're going to do the inverse, or the opposite of what the sign is within the ordered pair. So this would be x, instead of minus the -2, plus 2, parentheses squared, plus y minus 4, because that 4 is positive, parentheses squared, is equal to 2 squared, which is 4. And that's all I want you to do, is read the center from the graph and determine the radius and plug it into the formula. So you have example 4. That's finding the equation off the graph. All right, this next one, this one has a little bit more steps to it. So we're going to write an equation of a circle given a center and a point. So in order to do that, a center and a point, I need to know that point is on the circle. And so if they give you a point, it's going to be on the circle. So the first thing I want to find, given the center and the point, is the radius. But basically you're going to have to use, and whenever you're given 2 points, you're going to have to first use the distance formula. Okay? We're going to first use the distance formula to find the distance between those 2 points. And if I found the distance between the center to a point on the circle, that's going to basically be my radius. Okay? So, if I plug that in, the radius is going to equal to, or the distance, between those 2 points, using the distance formula, that's x minus x1 minus x2, or x2 minus x1, plus y. So, distance, 2 minus 3 squared, minus 1. Or I can get a minus 2. Basically, when I simplify this, we have 5 parentheses squared plus 2 parentheses squared. So my distance, I should have kept the radical, but we're going to have 25 plus the 4, which is 29. So the distance is the square root of 29, which we can't simplify because that is basically prime. So we want to use that as the radius. So this is not going to represent our radius in our equation of the circle. And I ran out of room here, but my radius is now going to the square root of 29. I already have my center. We see that the center was the 2, 3. So now we're just going to plug it into the formula that we used before, which basically says x minus h parentheses squared plus y minus k parentheses squared equals radius squared. So I'm just going to plug it in. So here's my equation. I'm going to turn this a little bit. Sorry. So we have x minus 2 parentheses squared plus y minus 3 parentheses squared equals the square root of 29 squared. Because we got to do radius squared. And we're just going to simplify that. Basically, when we square root or a radical, we get rid of the radical symbol. So x minus 2 parentheses squared plus y minus 3 parentheses squared equals just 29. And there's our equation for a circle with the center 2, 3, and a point on that circle at negative 3, 1. So that's all we're doing. That's just an extra step. We've got to find the distance. Sometimes if they give you the diameter, you might have to take half that distance so you can get to that radius. So go ahead and try example 6. And then all we're doing here is graphing a circle. And it's not going to be, work of art, Picasso or anything. But we're taking from the equation, and we are going to give the center, reading the equation. So we're going to do the opposite of whatever the sign is between the x and the h. So if this is, because our center is our h comma k, sorry. So I should have just kept it that color, but basically our center here is going to be 3, 1. And then we're going to do our radius, because since this is the radius squared is 9, then that lets me know that the radius is 3. So basically we want to first graph the center. So to graph that point, which is at 3, 1. Then we're going to use the radius, extend the radius to see how big our circle is going to be. So slash graph radius. Alright, so R is 3 units. So I'm going to end up going 3 units. 1, 2, 3 here. 3 units here. 1, 2, 3. To the left. Down. And our circle is going to go through those points. So I'm just kind of going to sketch. And there is our radius as such. Okay? Doesn't have to be perfect. So try the next one. And thanks, guys, for being patient. Make sure you at least just get the homework done. We will only do one extra step from this. The equation of circles, I'm hoping, is going to be a way for us to build a stronger foundation and add some points to our averages. All right. If you have any questions, see me in the morning. Thanks.